Have you ever wanted something so badly, only to see somebody else get it first? Have you ever felt like you're standing in someone else's shadow, loved but still waiting? That's Rachel's life. She was beautiful, deeply loved, but caught up in jealousy and heartbreak. Jacob worked 14 years just to marry her. But Rachel's story is about more than a love triangle. It's about long prayers without answers, the danger of envy, and the legacy of a woman whose children shaped history. Before we begin, subscribe to our channel for more powerful Bible stories told in a fresh way, with rich detail, surprising truths. It all started near a quiet well in a distant land. Jacob had just left his home in Beersheba, running from his brother Esau, who was angry because Jacob had tricked him. His mother Rebekah sent him to her family in Paddan Aram to find a wife. After a long, dusty trip, Jacob came to a field where sheep were resting near a large well covered with a heavy stone. He asked some local shepherds where they were from. They said they were from Haran. Jacob asked if they knew Laban, the son of Nahor. "Yes, we know him," they said. And right then they added, "Look, here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep." Jacob looked up and saw Rachel for the first time. She was beautiful. Her grace and confidence stood out as she came near with her flock. She wasn't just pretty, she was strong and capable. She worked hard guiding the sheep, doing work usually done by men. Jacob, moved by what he saw, rolled the heavy stone away from the well, a job that usually took several men, and gave water to Rachel's sheep. Then, in a surprising and emotional moment, Jacob kissed Rachel and began to cry. He told her who he was, the son of Rebekah, Laban's sister. Rachel ran home to tell her father. If Rachel's story touched your heart, don't leave just yet. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful Bible stories brought to life with depth, beauty, and faith. When Laban heard about Jacob, he hurried out to meet him. He hugged him, kissed him, and brought him home. Jacob stayed with Laban for a month, working with his flocks. During that time, Jacob fell more in love with Rachel. Later Laban said, "You're my relative. You shouldn't work for free. Tell me what you want to be paid." Jacob didn't hesitate. He said he would work 7 years to marry Rachel. Those 7 years felt like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Rachel was chosen, loved, and desired. But a storm was coming that would change everything. For now, her story began with hope, beauty, and promise. She was the beloved shepherd girl, walking in favor, not knowing the pain ahead. The long-awaited wedding day finally came. For 7 years Jacob had worked under the hot sun, herding Laban's flocks, all for one purpose, to marry Rachel. His love for her stayed strong. Rachel too must have been looking forward to this day with excitement. She was the chosen one, the woman Jacob had worked and waited for. But neither of them could see the trick that was about to happen. As the celebration began, Laban had his own plan, rooted in custom and obligation. His older daughter Leah was still unmarried, and in their culture the older daughter was expected to marry before the younger one. But Laban didn't explain this to Jacob. Instead, under the cover of night and behind the veil of wedding custom, Laban gave Leah to Jacob in Rachel's place. That night Jacob unknowingly slept with Leah. The next morning he woke up to the shock of his life. "What have you done to me?" he demanded. "I served you for Rachel. Why did you deceive me?" It was a deep betrayal. And for Rachel, it was public humiliation. The day that should have been her joy turned into painful confusion. Her father had given her sister to the man she loved. What could she say? What could she do? Laban defended himself, saying it wasn't their custom to give the younger daughter before the older. Then he made Jacob an offer, "Finish this daughter's bridal week and then we'll give you the younger one too, in return for another 7 years of work." Jacob agreed. 1 week later, Rachel finally became his wife. But what should have been a moment of happiness was now tangled in rivalry and tension. Rachel was now married to Jacob, but so was her sister. From that day forward Rachel would not only have to share a husband but also compete for his time, attention, and legacy. Though Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah, the Lord saw that Leah was not loved and opened her womb. But Rachel could not have children. The pain of waiting began. Imagine Rachel's heartbreak. She had been loved, chosen, and pursued. But now she was childless while her sister had son after son. Each baby was a reminder of Rachel's emptiness. She had won Jacob's heart but lost her sense of security. The woman who had once felt favored now began to feel forgotten. This was the start of a bitter rivalry that would last for years. And though Rachel was Jacob's first love, Leah became the mother of a growing family. Rachel had the love of her husband but not the blessing of children. From the outside she seemed to have it all. Jacob adored her, he had worked 14 long years to make her his wife, she was beautiful, admired, and cherished. But in a time when a woman's worth was tied to motherhood, Rachel carried a silent and growing pain. She could not conceive. Meanwhile her sister Leah, who was unloved by Jacob, kept giving birth. Leah bore Reuben, then Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Each name told the story of Leah's aching desire to be seen and loved by her husband. And each birth deepened Rachel's pain. When Rachel saw she wasn't having children for Jacob, she became jealous of her sister. She cried out to Jacob, "Give me children or I'll die." Her words were desperate and raw. This wasn't a woman without love. It was a woman who felt forgotten by God. Jacob's answer showed his own frustration. There was nothing he could do. The very thing Rachel wanted most was something only God could give. But Rachel, like many people in the Bible, took matters into her own hands. She followed a custom of the time, giving her servant Bilhah to Jacob as a stand-in. Bilhah gave birth to 2 sons, Dan and Naphtali. Rachel named them both, claiming their victories as her own. When Naphtali was born, she said she had won a great struggle with her sister. Leah, seeing Rachel's tactic, gave her own maidservant Zilpah to Jacob. 2 more sons were born, Gad and Asher. Then, in an unexpected twist, Leah started having children again, Issachar and Zebulun, and finally a daughter named Dinah. Through it all Rachel remained childless. The tension between Rachel and Leah wasn't just about motherhood, it was about identity. Rachel had always been seen as the beautiful one, the favored one. But now her less loved sister was the one expanding the family. Yet, despite her sorrow, Rachel stayed in Jacob's heart. The scriptures keep reminding us that Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah. Even in her emptiness, she was beloved. And then, after years of waiting, tears, and feeling left behind, God moved. He remembered Rachel. He listened to her and opened her womb. God had not forgotten her. Though the delay had been long and painful, his timing was perfect. Rachel conceived and gave birth to a son. She named him Joseph and said, "God has taken away my disgrace." The shame that had clung to her for years, silently mocking her in every childless season, was now gone. Her arms finally held a child. Her heart, once full of jealousy and sorrow, now tasted joy. Joseph was more than a son. He was a sign of God's faithfulness. He would grow up to become a powerful leader, a savior to nations. But at his birth, he was simply a miracle to a mother who had nearly given up hope. Rachel's journey didn't end there. Though her life had been marked by rivalry, now she began to live in a new chapter, one where God's hand was clearly at work. Soon after Joseph's birth, Jacob told Laban he wanted to return to his homeland. But Laban, knowing he had been blessed because of Jacob, begged him to stay. The 2 men made a complicated deal involving livestock and wages. Over time Jacob grew rich, but tension with Laban increased. Eventually God told Jacob to leave and go back to the land of his fathers. Jacob obeyed, gathering his family, including Rachel, and secretly leaving Laban's household. But even in this moment of obedience, Rachel made a controversial choice. She stole her father's household gods, small idols that represented inheritance and protection in their culture. When Laban chased after Jacob and demanded the return of the idols, Jacob, unaware that Rachel had taken them, declared that whoever had them should die. Rachel, sitting on the idols and pretending she couldn't rise because of the way of women, hid them successfully. But the consequences of this moment lingered. Some scholars believe Jacob's curse unknowingly sealed her tragic fate. Still, for a time, Rachel enjoyed life on the journey. She had her husband's love, her son Joseph, and the hope of more blessings to come. She continued to pray for another child. She wasn't content with just one. Her desire for family stayed strong. She believed God could do it again, and he would. Rachel's story was shifting. She was no longer the barren woman. She was the mother of Joseph, the future prince of Egypt. But as her hope grew, so did the risks. A second son was coming, but this birth would not be like the first. It would cost her everything. Rachel's final chapter began with hope and ended in heartbreak. After Joseph's miraculous birth, her faith for more didn't fade. She named him with expectation, saying, "May the Lord add to me another son." Her heart, once barren and broken, now burned with renewed desire. She longed for a second child to complete what had begun. Years passed. The family continued their journey under God's direction, traveling from Paddan Aram toward Bethel and then onward to Ephrath. It was along this road, between two places, that Rachel's last labor began. While they were still some distance from Ephrath, Rachel went into hard labor. This was not an ordinary delivery. Her pain was intense. The very gift she had prayed for became the trial that would end her life. As her strength faded, the midwife tried to comfort her, saying, "Don't be afraid, you have another son." But it was too late. The joy of new life could not erase the truth. Rachel was dying. With her final breath, she named the child Benoni, which means, "son of my sorrow." It was a name soaked in pain, capturing the weight of her last moments. But Jacob, in an act of love and remembrance, renamed him Benjamin, "son of my right hand." A name that honored both her sacrifice and the hope that would continue through their family. Rachel died on that journey, far from home, far from the comfort of a permanent resting place. Jacob did not forget her. He built a pillar over her tomb, a monument to the woman he had loved so fiercely. That pillar remained for generations, a symbol of Rachel's legacy and loss. Though she did not live to see it, Rachel's children would shape the destiny of Israel. Joseph would rise to power in Egypt, saving nations during a global famine. Benjamin's descendants would become warriors, including King Saul, the first king of Israel. And even more deeply, Rachel's name would echo through the generations as a symbol of motherly sorrow. The prophet Jeremiah would later write, "A voice is heard in Ramah, mourning and great weeping, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted, because they are no more." This prophecy would be fulfilled in the days of Herod, when innocent children were killed in Bethlehem. Rachel's spirit, symbolic of all Israelite mothers, was still mourning. Rachel's story ends not with ease but with eternal impact. Her life was marked by love, longing, rivalry, and pain, but also by promise. She was the beloved wife, the shepherd girl turned mother, the woman remembered by God. And though she died on the road to Bethlehem, her legacy lived on in Joseph, in Benjamin, and in the hope of a people still longing for redemption. Rachel's life was anything but simple. She was the beautiful shepherdess who captured Jacob's heart, the beloved wife who waited years for a child, the woman who struggled silently while her sister bore son after son. Her story was filled with deep longing, painful rivalry, and divine help. Though her journey was marked by sorrow, Rachel was never forgotten by God. He opened her womb. He gave her Joseph and Benjamin, sons who would help shape the destiny of Israel. And even in death, Rachel's voice lived on as a symbol of motherly love and national hope. Rachel reminds us that even when the world overlooks us, and even when the wait seems endless, God remembers. His timing may not line up with ours, but his purpose never fails. Her life is a testament to the power of love, the ache of delay, and the sacredness of legacy. If Rachel's story touched your heart, don't leave just yet. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful Bible stories brought to life with depth, beauty, and faith. We uncover the hidden details, highlight the emotional moments, and share biblical truth in a way that speaks to your soul. Share this video with someone who's waiting on God's promise, and let us know in the comments what part of Rachel's story moved you the most. Until next time, remember, you are not forgotten. God remembers. Shalom, brothers and sisters.